to quality healthcare. We need to understand. The third mega trend is appropriately integrative medicine. So if you look at the NHP 2017, where we talked about integrate the pluralistic health systems of India coming together to serve patients, right? That entire vision is now unfolding step by step over the last 5 years. And you can see that going forth systematically under the leadership of this current government, right? So it's very clear. So these three trends, Ayush, digital health, number three, digital access, and number three, integrative medicine. So what does that mean? It does not mean that we stray away from our principles. We stick to our core principles in each system, AYUSH. Yet at the same time, we learn to work with the conventional medicine, not in conflict, but in the best interest of the patient, the true values of patient-centric care. So with this, we go to the two just crux of tech and innovation, right? When you talk about tech, we get mixed up as to what is tech today. I just want to clarify the context in which our different speakers would be speaking. We have IT, that is the use of information technology, information systems. We have IT-enabled services, which is where it's more of the services part, but there's an IT enablement coming in between. And the third is tech-enabled. When I talk about tech-enabled, it's a whole new world where we're talking about devices which can be used in the manufacturing shop floor. It can be used in the in services, in the Panchakarma theater, in for validation of products from farm to factory. So technology, the moment devices and IoT, all of this is brought into the Ayush marketplace, is going to transform. How do we envisage that particular transformation? The fact that there are going to be consumer-driven IT apps, there are many apps which are looking at physical, mental health, also meditation. How does this transform Ayush? And how does Ayush go and transform that? Because there are many unicorns globally which are doing just taking a small slice of the Ayush value chain and able to do that. Can, from India, that unicorn leverage truly the principles of Ayurveda and Ayush to take that to the world? And finally, we are talking about platforms which integrate the ecosystem. So whether it's the integrated health management system for hospitals that the Ministry of Ayush has brought out, we are talking about the Ayush Soft, we are talking about Ayush GIS, Ayush system. So my last, and the innovation, when we talk about it, we have to ensure that for whom is this innovation? Is the innovation for whom are we attracting? Are we targeting the patient? Are we targeting the service provider? Are we targeting the manufacturing? Unless we are clear, innovation for the sake of innovation has no meaning. Technology for technology's sake has no meaning. It has to serve a need, which is a pain point, whether it is hidden, latent need or an implicit need. So in this context, I think the last point is the Ayush grid and the Ayushman Bharat digital health mission. So look at this larger picture in which technology and innovation is already an architecture is provided for. And the government, what it did with the unified payment interface, right, which has totally transformed through fintech and brought in so much of activity in this sector through the unified health interface, Ayush can completely play on top of that. And in that context, the three principles or four principles that the government of India has told, very important. It is wellness-centric, wellness-driven. The Ayushman digital health mission is based on a foundation of wellness. Wellness, let's take that word, not the spa type of thing, but the population being healthy, swasthya rakshana, and swasthya, improving the state of swasthya. So this context of wellness-centric, wellness-driven, the other part of educate and empower is very much part of the ABDHM, which is where Ayush really comes in, because it's the best system to empower the population, and an inclusive design which will enable access. So these are all the great mantras which are very good for Ayush to leverage the opportunity. But are we ready is the question, right? Is this ecosystem ready? Are the Ayush practitioners ready? The rest of the people in the Ayush sector, are we ready to seize the opportunity? So with these comments, I would now begin and hand over to Professor Asim Ali Khan, to make the opening remarks. Professor Asim Ali Khan is the Director General of the Central Council for Research into Unani Medicine. He's also advisor for Unani in the Ministry of Ayush and serves in multiple critical roles relating to this system of medicine. A senior administrator, a senior practitioner. We look forward to your remarks, respected Professor Asim Ali Khan. Please come on. Thank you.
A very good morning. Assalamu alaikum and namaskar. A very honorable Minister of State, Minister of Ayush, and Minister of State for Women and Child Health, our very beloved Shri Munchpara Mahendra Bhai Sahib. Very honorable Minister of State for Mighty, Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhan Shah. Respected Shri Rajiv Vasudevan Sahib. Respected Shri Pratap Chauhan Sahib, Director Jiva Ayurveda. Shri Ram and Kumar Sahib, founder in Rogi Street. Shri Anand Chaudia Sahib, the Director of Technology and Innovation, the Eco Factory Foundation. Honorable Secretary Ayush, Shri Vaidya Rajesh Koteja Sahib, our officers from Ministry of Ayush, colleagues, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to give these opening remarks in today's plenary session on technology and innovation in Ayush sector. The main purpose of organizing this Global Ayush Investment and Innovation Summit is to offer a world of opportunities and possibilities with ample investment, innovation, and growth opportunities in the upcoming sector by sharing new concepts, research outcomes, and exciting engagement plans with the stakeholders to build a continuum of result-oriented outcomes. The summit aims to drive investment and rich content while advocating global understanding of Ayush education, research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustained health across all Ayush systems. Friends, the approach of Ayush is one in sync with the vision driving World Health Organization's innovation in health approach, which is to build a global innovation in health movement to accelerate the achievement of health for all and the health-related sustainable development goals. We witnessed the grand events in the last 2 days. A world of opportunities have been opened up. New horizons have been made wide open to fly and to explore and to achieve in Ayush sector. Dr. Rajiv Vasudevan Sahib just mentioned about integration opportunities. I think this is the high time for that. But when we say that integration of opportunities, integration of systems, it does not mean that we have to 100% amalgamate into each other or we lose our identities. Integration to us means, or to me means, that while respecting the individualities of each other, while respecting the basic foundations and fundamentals of each other, if we can come together and integrate with each other so that the best results could be achieved to benefit the masses in the world, in the country and the world. So that is the integration. A lot of talks have been happening. Much things have already been happening in Ayush sector, particularly under the leadership of our ministers, honorable ministers and Secretary Ayush. In all the councils, in all national institutions, in all the colleges even, a lot of integration talks have been happening, and a lot of things are happening in councils with institutions of higher learning, institutions of eminence in the country. A lot of collaborative researches are already going on. So I think this is the one what Rajiv Vasudevan Sahib has touched, is a wonderful opportunity for having the integration, but integration in a very appropriate sense. In fact, innovation in healthcare touches every individual on the planet. It promises new ways to prevent, diagnose, and monitor health problems, as well as new drugs and devices to manage and cure diseases. Innovation in healthcare also means increasing knowledge and transforming existing process and business models to better serve changing needs with expectations. Health innovation improves the efficiency, effectiveness, quality, sustainability, safety, and affordability of the healthcare. Innovation is an immediate, immensely important area, which was especially highlighted yesterday by our Honorable Prime Minister of India during the inaugural session of his first of its kind Global Ayush Investment Opportunities Innovation Summit 2022. Honorable Prime Minister Sahib mentioned that there are immense opportunities for investment in the Ayush sector. The Ayush Ministry has been promoting the culture of traditional medicine startups and has received an encouraging response from the youth. He also mentioned that government will develop a network of Ayush parks to encourage the promotion, research, and manufacturing of Ayush products across the country. Food safety and standards for Ayush AHA brought by the FSAI will greatly facilitate the producers of herbal nutritional supplements also. Ministry of Ayush, as well as other Ayush-related organizations, have been taking steps to promote and utilize technology and digitization in the sector. Indian policy approach to the Ayush sector has always encouraged research and innovation in the area. There are dedicated research councils, which are apex organizations for research and development in various Ayush systems. The research councils have been developing innovative drugs. Some examples of Ayush is true for type 2 diabetes mellitus and Ayush SG for rheumatoid arthritis by Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, D5 Churanam for diabetes mellitus by Central Council for Research in Siddha, drugs for filariasis, vitiligo, and malaria by Central Council for Research in Unani Medicine, and others also are doing the same way. The Ministry of Ayush, along with all its councils, state departments, and various agencies, has been proactively working to create a fostering environment to promote growth, investment, employment, and ease of doing business in the Ayush sector. India has been encouraging applications of science and technology in Ayush systems. However, we can do much more, and the challenges raised by the COVID-19 pandemic give an opportunity to modernize the systems through innovations effectively using science and technology. There have been multiple innovations launched in the past few months, accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Most notable is the Ayush Sanjeevani app, developed by the Ministry of Ayush and MIT, with the aim to generate data and on acceptance and usage of Ayush advocacies and measuring among the population and its impact in prevention of COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, the Ayush case repositories portal was launched to aggregate information about clinical outcomes achieved by Ayush practitioners on a very large scale. The purpose is to facilitate study and documentation regarding the efficacy of selected Ayush interventions, including Ayush 64, Khamira Marwarid, and Kabasaru Kudinir medicines in the management of asymptomatic and mild to moderate COVID-19 patients. There is a need to develop an innovation ecosystem, adopting a scientific perspective while analyzing Ayush principles and encouraging linkages between research, academics, and practice is the need of the hour. Another important area for technology advancement and innovation is medicinal plant sector. As mentioned by our Honorable Prime Minister yesterday, India is a treasure trove of medicinal plants, which in a way are our green gold. Medicinal plants and raw materials from core components of the Ayush industry in India, which comprises pharmaceuticals, plant extracts and derivatives, classical formulations, nutraceuticals, proprietary products, cosmetics, and veterinary medicines. Friends, as we are aware, the Ayush market currently stands in a hopping more than $10 billion in its projected dollars and to project to see an impressive 50% increase over the course of the next 5 years. Ayush sector offers massive potential for exponential growth at a time when there is a growing global interest in the field of alternative medical practices. The Ministry of Ayush has taken numerous steps to promote the research and understanding of these medicines or these practices that are indigenous to India and her history. All India Institute of Ayurveda, one of our premier institutions of Ministry of Ayush, is actively working towards creating an environment that fosters research and development and building of practices, technology, and solutions to accelerate the adoption of Ayush practices. The Ayush Startup Challenges is an important initiative towards realizing this vision. To enhance the innovation culture in Ayush sectors, we must keep in mind that in the Ayush sector, there are richer possibilities of success through retrospective and inward exploration than in normal perspective onward innovation exercise. A few topics of special considerations could be to innovate tools for appropriate application of conventional science and technology to understand, decode, expand, and further the traditional knowledge for contemporary use in the public interest. Next could be the innovations and new ideas aiming to bridge the gaps between traditional Ayush knowledge systems and the contemporary conventional knowledge practice, which is essential to promote integration and mainstreaming of Ayush systems. Third could be the innovations to bridge the gap between Ayush knowledge practice and the people of the country, disseminating information and generating awareness among the masses. There are diversified engagements areas for startups and new innovations, such as food innovations in Ayush sector, ready-to-eat nutritious Ayush food, snacks in this era of pandemic and population at large, when it is striving to consume more nutritious foods with less time to spend in preparing it. This could be one factor. Ayush bioinstrumentation, that is the hardware solutions and innovations in healthcare. These innovations should enable breakthrough performances in terms of better outcomes, convenience, access at lower cost, reduced complexities, and time required for the patient and the healthcare providers. This could be another factor. Ayush IT solutions in the areas of artificial intelligence based solutions in Ayush diagnostics. That is a very important area, that Ayush IT solutions in the area of artificial intelligence based solutions in Ayush diagnostics, virtual reality, biosensors and trackers, innovation in information technology have the capacity more than any other medium to facilitate various stakeholders of Ayush sector achieve better outcomes. So these could be some more new ideas where we could work on. So I'm sure that in today's plenary session, our eminent speakers will throw more light on technology and innovation in Ayush sector. And in the end, we will be able to provide a roadmap and a clear guidelines and roadmap on recommendations, which could be useful for the various stakeholders in the future to come. I will once again say together that we can achieve the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi Sahib, in the next 25 years, as Honorable Prime Minister has also suggested. It could be an Amrit Kal for all of us in the world, which will be the golden period of traditional medicines. I think together, we definitely can achieve the targets. We have the hand-holding and great leadership in our country by having the Honorable Prime Minister with us. In our ministry, we are having two very active and very hand-holding and patronizing ministers, honorable ministers. We have a very active and honorable Secretary Ayush, who is 24 hours, is working and guiding and hand-holding and paving the ways for us. I think with this understanding and the inclination of all of us together in the country and the world at the moment, when we have seen the traditional medicine center in India and what we heard about the WHO Director General, I think we have wonderful opportunities lying ahead where we can pave the ways further to grow and achieve and benefit the masses, not only within our own country, India, but across the globe. With these words, I conclude my opening remarks. Thank you very much. And Jai Hind.
Thank you, Professor Asim Ali Khan, for very clearly articulating the context in which this particular session and we are all deliberating on. And the future is not only for India, but for the world, Ayush for the world. Thank you very much. Now, I have great pleasure in welcoming our Honorable Minister of State for Ayush and Women and Child Development, Shri Munchpara Mahindra Bhai ji. I think it would be totally appropriate that at this point we acknowledge the fantastic leadership provided to this sector by the Honorable Minister, Sarbanand Sonowal ji, our Honorable Minister of State, Shri Munchpara Mahindra Bhai ji, and our Honorable Secretary Vaidya Kotecha ji, in making this sector suddenly become top of mind amongst all Indians. So it is not flattering, it is a fact that I think we have seen a total resurgence in the public awareness, and the mind space has been occupied by Ayurveda, Ayush, Yoga, etc. So right from the Honorable Prime Minister downwards. So we look forward to hearing the enlightened remarks of Honorable Minister. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sekharji, Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology, Dr. Rajiv Vasudevanji, CMD, Ayurved Hospital, Sri Anand Chordia ji, Director, Technology and Innovation, the Eco Factory Foundation, Dr. Pratap Chavan, Director G, Jiva Ayurveda, Sri Ram N. Kumarji, Founder, Nirog Street, Professor Asim Ali Khan, participants from around the world. First of all, to Namaste. Good morning and congratulate the organizer for successful organizing Global Ayush Investment and Innovation Summit. It is indeed the need of the hour, and I am sure that this summit would offer a world of possibilities with ample innovation, investment, and growth opportunity in the upcoming sector by sharing new concept, research, outcome, and exciting engagement plan with stakeholders to build a continuum of result-oriented outcomes. This summit will enhance the global recognition and understanding of Ayush education, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. I feel proud to say that this type of platform reflects the vision of our government, which is proactive in supporting our nation's traditional system of medicine in holistic manner. Amalgamation of modern technology and innovation with fundamental essence of Ayurveda will be the great combination for the mankind. Dear friends, India's stride in startup are well known. Our nation is home to one of the world's largest startup ecosystems. Several unicorns have come up in recent years. The startup ecosystem is also evolving in Ayush sector. Ministry of Ayush, Government of India is actively taking steps to promote entrepreneurship and innovation in Ayush sector. The Ministry of Ayush is determined to revive and promote the traditional Indian medicine system. Friends, a few days back, India's first Ayurveda Incubation Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, AIIA, I small CAINE, under Ministry of Ayush was established at campus of All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi. This incubation center is actively nucleating clusters of new age ventures specific to Ayush system of medicine and promoting young entrepreneurship, leveraging their academic knowledge. Such innovation centers and incubators will help in economic growth of the country, and this will contribute the long-term vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Such innovation centers and incubators will help in economic growth of the country, and this will contribute the long-term vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Innovation and technology in field of Ayush will young entrepreneurs to establish themselves before they scale up their venture and eventually global recognition of this ancient system of Ayurveda. It is matter of pride for all of us that for the first time in history, Ministry of Ayush in association with Startup India had launched the Ayush Startup Challenge to encourage early stage startups to work on innovation in Ayush sector. More than 150 startups participated in this challenge under 03 entry categories: Ayush Food Innovations, Ayush Bio Instrumentation, and Ayush IT Software Solutions. Congratulations to all organizers for this type of activities. I strongly feel that technology and innovation can help in validating ancient concept of Ayurveda in more scientific ways. I came to know that participating Ayush startup companies came up with innovative solutions which are immense help to nation as a whole. I hope that winners of this challenge will receive incubation support and prosper into robust industries. On this occasion, I also invite potential investors to invest in venture of these young entrepreneurs and help them to translating their dreams into reality. Ayush entrepreneurs offer what innovators and investors need. I also appeal our young Ayush entrepreneurs to use latest technology and innovation like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and this will definitely help in validating the concept of our traditional knowledge. There is a diverse and extensive market that awaits you. Our startup must explore areas of promotive, preventive, and curative healthcare solutions. Friends, our government is working actively to nurture a culture of innovation. There are state-of-the-art innovations lab in 7,500 schools under Atal Innovation Mission. These give them much needed exposure to global talent and best practices. We are constantly coming out with policies to support startups and incubators. I firmly believe that our young Ayush entrepreneurs with help of innovation and technology will build a more inclusive, caring and sustainable future for all. I have faith in the power of science and the possibility of innovation to help us achieve that future. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Entrepreneurs who are sitting here in the audience wanted anything more invigorating to begin the day and the rest of the life, I think you could see that in this absolutely focused speech from the Honorable Minister of State. Let me talk about the theme of this particular summit, which is investment and innovation and entrepreneurship. So the Minister of State could bring in these three themes in a very, very focused manner. Starting with the point that whatever is being done over the last many years and now reflects the vision of this government, right? It's important. You have to link that vision to the actions, and this really comes there. And the entire story on entrepreneurs should drive Ayush globally. Right? It's not just the role of government, but also entrepreneurs who should take the voice of genuine, authentic Ayush systems to the world. And concluding with, I'm not getting into full details, faith in the power of science and faith in innovation. I think these words are really encapsulating a very clear direction and exhortation to all the young people here and also other people who are stakeholders in the Ayush sector. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of State, for a very inspiring speech. We would be waiting for the Honorable Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Government of India, to join in at the earliest. In the meantime, I would like to request Shri Anand Chodia ji to talk about his perspective on technology and innovation in the Ayush sector.
प्रणाम सभी को। श्री मुंशपारा महेंद्र भाई जी, ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष एंड मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ विमेन एंड चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, all the distinguished speakers, Shri Kotecha sir, and entire amazing and dynamic Ayush Ministry team, and the building blocks of and ambassadors of Heal in India sitting right in front of me. It's a small case study which I want to present today. I will very briefly introduce about where I come from. So my grandfather and grandmother started our group in 1962. We initially started with making Indian traditional food at a household level. And now we are in 9 states and 40 countries of India and having 11 integrated manufacturing units. We do all Indian traditional foods, as I said, but eventually we have moved to developing some health foods, seeing the consumer requirements and consumer demands. And very correctly said by Minister Sir and Rajiv ji also, the approach of consumer centric is very important in industry or in any field we are working. And soon we are working on some of the Ayu food products, which uh, to me seems like a big world of opportunity for Indian entrepreneurs and Ayush sector. We have a brand called Adya Herbals through which we are making some herbal products. And while working to make our own industry sustainable, green, lot of work we did for last 8 years, which we believed in as a environmentally conscious company, that if we can, and also I was personally inspired with vision of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, doubling farmer income, because Ayush and food industry both are very much connected to farmers' economy at large. And we value our biodiversity at large. So when we were working on our own industry to go eco-friendly, we learned a lot of things which we felt we want to offer to society and community at large. And that's how the birth of Eco Factory Foundation happened. It is a platform by which we can share the knowledge we have been gaining while working in our own industry. Our verticals on which we work are rural sustainability, under which we are working with farmers to share the insights of Vedic, natural, organic farming practices and value addition in farm products, and which should help the doubling of farmer income vision of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. In that, we are also working on how the farm space can be made and converted into agro, eco, responsible and medical tourism, where the incomes of farmers can be grown at large. We made a mobile center called Shashwat Bharat Krushi Rath, which is traveling in MP and Maharashtra right now, and soon should be traveling in 6 states with the regional language to train farmers. Through this initiative, so far around 25,000 farmers have been touched upon. In industrial sector, we are working on smart and sustainable industry, and more focus is kept on IT implementation in manufacturing sector, sustainable solutions to make industry a net zero industry, how we can reduce our wastage, how we can move to renewable energy sources, etc. And in urban area, we are working on waste management and sustainability in urban area, in residential premises and offices. For many people, sustainability means actually only environmental protection. But in real sense, it is about economic value creation, social value creation and preservation, and also environmental value. So when all these 3 aspects are nurtured, preserved well, the true sustainable growth of any organization really can happen. These are the main verticals today which I want to share about, and are on sustainable and smart manufacturing industry. And for me, I see that Ayush Industries needs to focus on these areas where we can make Ayush industries net zero and move towards India as a net zero country altogether and complete our Prime Minister Sir's vision. Hello. So it's very important for our sector that we work on the right raw material sourcing. And it is really important in any growing sector, the shortage of quality raw material can hamper industrial growth at large. For example, insecticides and pesticide residues, which are in most of the farm produce in India today, and also in many of the medicinal herbs and jadi booty produce, where work needs to be done on 100% farm to shelf, farm to fork traceability of the material. And post COVID, we are seeing a large demand in customers where they expect things to be known from where they are sourced from, and it's 100% traceability. FPCs and FPO like concepts will work a lot in Ayush sector in times to come, where organized raw material sourcing for industry will boost the sector at large. Organic and natural produce and right QA QC controls, instant kits or controls on quick testing mechanisms will help our industry to grow at large. In manufacturing excellence system, which will focus largely on productivity and organized manufacturing workplace, where we make sure every individual is productive multifold times and use of right systems is done. This is more has been happening in automobile sector, in Ayu Foods and in Ayush sector. We will need to implement these technologies at large. Then whether it is a pharmacy, whether it is a MSME, small scale business, or a large scale manufacturing unit, 5S, TPM, TQM, all these manufacturing excellence systems are must. Tools and technologies which will help to control our productions. Simple use of conveyor mechanisms where lot of sensor based technologies can be used to control every batch, to make sure every product the factory is churning out is controlled and assured to the customers of world from Indian factories. Simple things like sensors, rapid doors, metal detectors, magnets. Recently, X-ray machines are used to check and keep highest controls on raw material quality of organic nature.
2 minutes.
Yes. We have Industrial Revolution 4.0, on which we have been working at large, where robotics, AI, IoT concepts are largely used. Machine learning is a very current norm for Ayush manufacturing sector, and which will help industries to become smarter. And final and very important part, how the industries can be green and sustainable. Green infrastructures, grey water recycling, biodegradable waste management, non-biodegradable waste management is important and will also add largely to Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. This is our unit, which is India's first net zero facility. And I will invite all of you, because of the shortage of time, to come and visit the Eco Factory Foundation's exhibit, where we can explain all this more in detail. We do not have any biodegradable waste going out of factory. Entire plastic waste is recycled. Entire grey water is recycled, and 100% solar powered run unit. Last slide, sir. So what we have been earlier, a linear way of manufacturing, where we buy raw material, we make finished products, and we dump all the waste in the trash. And now how we work with a circular approach. Of course, earlier approach was non-eco-friendly and no wealth creation from the waste was there and non-sustainable. But with the entire circular approach, every waste and every step in between production, we have created a value creation. An entire circular approach has been
achieved in manufacturing. It is sustainable, it is wealth creating and more eco-friendly. Last slide, I just want to say the net zero India target is possible through net zero Ayush and Ayu food industries. The distance between dreams and reality is action. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Arunji. It was a extremely lucid, clear presentation of your success, which you built, a successful model that you built. I'm sure there are many, many takeaways for us across that set of steps that you have articulated. We'll have time to go into that in detail. Thank you very much for sharing your expertise and insights. I now would like to request Dr. Pratap Chauhan, who is a pioneer in Ayurveda Chikitsa, and particularly using the power of telemedicine, virtual contact with the patients. I'm sure he's a very known face to everybody and really believing in the authentic Ayurveda Chikitsa. Over to you, Dr. Chauhan.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Morning. Am I audible? Good morning. Kem cho? Piche wale? Okay, good. Honorable Minister Munjpara Mahendra Bhai ji and Professor Khan, my colleagues Rajiv ji, who has been declared now Dr. Rajiv Vasudevan ji unanimously, Anand Bhai, Ram ji. It's a very, very historic moment to be present here in this Ayush Summit, especially because the events that are taking place will be remembered one day in the history. My topic today is how technology can be used for Ayurvedic or Ayush growth in general. So let me tell you in advance that this is the right moment for all the Ayush sectors. If you want to really fuel growth into your business or into your practice or whatever your sector is in the Ayush department, this is a right opportunity because when Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji took over, I still remember his first address from the Red Fort in August 2014. In his first address, he mentioned telemedicine. He also mentioned about digital India because this is his dream. And then later on, creating Ayush Ministry and then choosing a Vaidya as a secretary and under the able leadership of Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji, we have seen so much technological things. Yesterday, even few things were announced, Ayush Grid, Ayush Next, Ayush GIS, and I think Ayush Soft. So I think it's the best opportunity. But let me tell you, and let me just maybe give you a warning maybe, that technology is just an enabler. Technology is not a replacement for Ayurveda. And especially you have to be very careful that when technology comes in, we should not dilute the original Ayurvedic principles. This is very, very important because this is what happens. So it's my experience. If I tell you that how I started this whole thing, this is my garage startup. I think one of the first startups of Ayurveda in 1992. You see the young Vaidya there? That's me. He's looking very cute in a kurta pajama. You know, back then in 1992, Ayurveda was not very fashionable and nobody wanted to practice Ayurveda. So you have to really look like a Vaidya because people thought Vaidya is some old man. So this was my startup with no investment. I took just some medicines of worth of 2,500 rupees, which my Guruji actually donated me. And he never charged me anything. So zero investment. But as I explored this field and I wanted to grow, so I thought that how can I grow? sitting in a garage, nobody is going to come to me. And in order to grow, you need patience, you need footfall. So I realized that in Ayurveda, when people talk about Ayurveda, we think Ayurveda is some backward knowledge. This is very wrong conception. Ayurveda is not backward at all. Back then also in those years, thousands of years ago, our Vedyas, they also had the concept of technology. It was their technology. If you know, I think many of you must have heard this story that there was a Vedya who could check the pulse by a thread. One end of the thread was tied to the patient, especially when they used to go to check the queens. And the other end, Vaidya or the Hakims, they used to check and they could actually find out what's wrong with the patient. Or in Ayurveda, we have all studied the concept of Dutanadi. Dutanadi means when the patient could not come to the doctor, the messenger used to come. And it is mentioned that the Vaidya will check the nadi of the messenger. And in anyway, whatever technology it was, that was the telemedicine of that period. They could actually diagnose people using some technology. Today, in this age, I think we have what we say a lot of technological applications which are used to deliver, lot of things. So in modern context, if you look at technology, technology is delivered by using some apps or some platforms. So coming back, how technology can be used, and especially I would like to, address to our young students and young Vaidyas, please pay attention to this because this is a very interesting thing that I'm going to share with you, because if I can do it, everybody can do it. Because I had nothing, no background, no Vaidyas in my families, no tradition. My father was just an ordinary farmer, but I had the passion. I was always thinking how to solve the problem. Technology is very good for solving problem. If you have any problem, any blockage that is stopping your growth, you should find some technology for that. So when I was sitting in my garage and I was thinking, how do I attract patients? Internet has just started in those years. That was 95, 94, 95. So can you imagine in those years, a Vaidya thinking of creating a website? That's how we have to start thinking. Again, without compromising your basic principles. That's very, very important. Always remember that. So in 1995, this was the beginning of the first Ayurvedic website. And this became really, thank you very much. Thank you for your appreciation. So this became a very popular website, and this started lot of new things. I will briefly mention what technology can do for your growth. So if I give you this next slide, there are 4 things that technology can help you to grow. One is adoption. Today, the biggest problem, especially because I come from a service sector, practicing Ayurveda, the products, you can do many things to attract customers. But when you're in practice, first important thing is how do you change the mindset of the consumer? Because people have so much confusion when it comes to Ayurveda. Some people, they still think that Ayurveda is haldi wala doodh. And it's become now, if you go to US, turmeric latte, you can buy for $10, turmeric latte. But, it's a very small part of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is huge. So you have to find ways to educate people. And again, technology can play a very important role. Again, addressing to the young people, Instagram, you can start your YouTube channel, your website, social media, but do not compromise with principles. Make authentic Ayurvedic videos or whatever your content you're going to make. And it also makes accessible. Back in 96, after creating the website, I also created the first online Ayurveda school because people wanted to study. So I started that. I started traveling. I visited around 50
Dr.
countries.
John, 2 minutes.
Okay. So that was, how to make it accessible easily. People were doing consultations from all over the world. Acceptance is another thing that technology can help you do. How do you make it acceptable to the people? Because again, lot of research work has to be done. And innovation, when it comes to innovation, I personally think Ayurveda doesn't need any innovation. Ayurveda is full, complete science itself. All it needs is some intervention that will help people to understand it better. What is Ayurveda? So with that, I have just a couple of more slides. So technology is enabler, find the problem, and technology can solve the problem. Ease of use for patient as well as for the doctor. And let me just say, the Vaidya is the center of this. Vaidya is the center of growth of Ayurveda. Without Vaidya, Ayurveda will not grow. So we have to definitely create programs for the Vaidyas, quality analysis, also LMS for their continuous education, not only for Vaidyas, for therapists, for pharmacists. And I would request the ministry here to introduce some IT course in the Ayurvedic colleges so that they are familiar with this IT and technology right from the college. So this is what, and just some takeaways, final takeaways, you can read here, like technology for consumer outreach, that I have already spoken some of the points, and technology also for evidence-based and research. And when I started my online clinic in 95, I was doing consultations in 100 countries. But then I had a desire, how do I bring it to rural India? Because people didn't have internet. So in 2000, mobile phone was becoming popular. So you will be happy to know that I created the world's first mobile app in 2003 when there were no smartphones. Teledoc, and this won the World Summit Award from United Nations. The only program from Ayurveda sector that has won the UN award is Teledoc. And of course, a television show, again, outreach. Already for 17 years, a television show is going on. 1 million minutes of talk time is there. We started with just 2 doctors. Today we have 350 Ayurvedic doctors. And the first day we received 15 calls. Today we are servicing 6,000 patients every day. 2 years ago, we made a world record kind of thing, 8,000 patients in a day. So all this using technology for root cause based personalized medicine delivered at the doorstep of the people. Of course, we have also done a big data analysis, and we have created decision support system for Ayurvedic doctors, where this decision support system helps the doctors to arrive at a precise conclusion of dosha-based diagnosis. And this is based on decision algorithms. So once again, I want to just finally mention a few points that technology is an enabler. It's a problem solver. It can help in faster growth, but please do not compromise with the original principles of Ayurveda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chauhan, for connecting with the soul of the audience and keeping technology and the spirit of innovation, the heart of sharing what you do. I would now like to invite Sri Raman Kumar, who is representing the new age Ayush entrepreneur, who has really demonstrated how to scale up, right, in a time of change. So over to you, Ram.
Thank you so much. It is indeed a pleasure being here. And what we have seen, India has been transforming. And as we have been listening since yesterday, we are talking about India, and story of India actually is story of Ayurveda. So I would request everyone to give a big round of applause for all the Ministry of Ayush, Minister, Secretary Ayush, Rajesh Kotecha, and everyone for this wonderful job that has taken place. I'll just tell you how it came to, I came to Ayurveda, and it is basically one thing that I had my own personal healthcare experience, which brought me here. And while being bedridden and going through the treatment, it opened up about the issues the sector faces. India is a country of billions, and driving any change has its own share of challenges. What made us think about this was the fact that what we are doing and what we are facing is faced by millions of people on a daily basis. And that was basically the challenges of non-connectivity. They were not able to connect. So when we talk about technology, innovation, big data, everything, let me open with one statement. There is a misconception that data can be monetized. Let me tell you one thing, healthcare data cannot be monetized. It has not been monetized. What do you use that data to actually make your services better, precision-led, and affordable? That's what you can do with the data. That's the only thing that happens. So when we drive a car, you would see that, and human driving versus tech driving, all of us have heard about Tesla. Tesla is one of the most valued companies in the world. What they do, they are a beautiful piece of software. And when a human crashes the car, only he or she learns from it. But when a machine crashes, entire network processes it and they learn it, and it is used for everyone's benefit. Everyone learns from it. That's what we do at Nirog Street. We are similar to a self-driving network. We are democratizing knowledge with technology. This is what we do. What technology does? What technology products does? It makes everything 10x better. If it doesn't make, then it should not be existing. It should make things faster. It should make things cheaper. Sorry. But our category, as we've been speaking, has been growing at tremendous speed. Today, the industry is 1,40,000 crore industry. It is one of the fastest growing, opting to it, and it is also becoming global. But there are also trusts. No industry can actually grow if we do not solve the challenges. And those challenges can be solved with technology. Every growing sector needs to have certain challenges. Ayurveda is growing, that is why there is a challenge. So this is one thing we must consider. One of the biggest issues we face is skilling and trust issues. And if we solve that, that leads to the 10x from where we are. The other thing is adoption of technology. How do we create adoption? As I said, India is a country of billions, and driving any change takes its own share of challenges and time. This is what we need to do, and a lot of policy initiatives, and particularly the bridges that ministry is creating, the Digital India infrastructure is being created, is helping that. Innovators and startups like us use those bridges created by ministry to build the roads that will actually create adoption, inefficiencies of supply chain, and finally also how current changes in basically consumer behavior that has been taken place in last 2 decades, particularly in last 10 years. That is also driving entire change, and we need to be prepared for that as well. Where we see an opportunity is basically, though people call it alternative medicine, and for better understanding, I have put in, but for us, it's actually a mainstream system of medicine, and it works. What we see is wherever threat of life is immediate, and why a lot of people were wondering in this gathering, and they asked, is it true that it is a $18 billion industry? And actually, this is a testament to that. 70% of deaths are linked to lifestyle problems or chronic problems, and Ayurveda is solving that, not just in India, but globally. And this is one of the reasons it has been one of the fastest growing category in both value and volume, not just in India, but entire MENA region and North America. So wherever threat to life is immediate, people might take some other system medicine, but wherever threat to life is distant, and where you need to manage your life, Ayurveda has been filling that gap very beautifully. And that has led to the growth where we have seen where it has become an $18 billion industry. So what we are doing at Nirog Street, we are making Ayurveda ecosystem 10x better, faster, and accessible with technology. Our aim is to make accessibility is the key. Everyone should have access to the same set of knowledge, same set of product, and to some extent, same set of prices. The transparency is the key. And what we saw, the ecosystem challenges in terms of patients, doctors, and manufacturers. Everyone faces their own challenges, and trust and transparency is the biggest problem. But how much time is left, sir? All right. So what digital transformation can do? We have heard the story of Shopify happening. We have heard the story of even Tesla happening. Can we implement some of those things in Ayurveda? The answer is yes. The innovation can take anything, anywhere, any place. So what telehealth is all about? Telehealth is not just about that people are able to consult. It's about having ability to increase their livelihood and also be part of the financial inclusion that they have. Anything should increase the livelihood value, the financial inclusion of the people at the center of it, the practitioners, the Ayurveda doctors. So what we did, we created a digital clinic plus the storefront for all the practitioners that work with us. That is the private storefront. We help them with all sort of contents and everything that they can market themselves and make the practice better. What we are doing, we are democratizing Ayurveda globally with distribution of their content in multiple languages. What we do, we have made sure that a person in Delhi, a doctor sitting in Delhi, has same access as a doctor sitting in Chinsura in West Bengal or Ajmer city in Rajasthan. That's democratization. Learning. How can we expect a system to grow if a system is not sharing knowledge among themselves? It's not possible. We created a peer-to-peer learning platform where there is minimum intervention from anything, where a community teaches one another. You learn from cases of one doctor and implement that to the other. It has actually benefited a doctor sitting in Punjab by learning from a doctor in Kerala. They have been able to deliver better healthcare. They have been delivering better healthcare. And on top of that, they have become better decision maker on what kind of medicines, what kind of protocol they should be addressing with the all sort of EHR and HMIS healthcare-based system-based delivery, and added with the modern diagnostics that they have been using. What it has done is actually increased trust, the trust in the practitioners, practitioner trust in the people, and both of them trusting the quality products and quality medicines. It leads to increased trust in entire ecosystem and builds it. So what we are solving the problem of trust. Once the problem of trust is solved, everything is solved.
Out of time.
I'm done, sir. Sorry. So, and then it also leads to one major problem where we call connected manufacturing. So if factories are able to adopt digitalization it will lead to a lot of capacity utilization and losses. Better management and certainly leading to cheaper cost of distribution, thus increasing the margins for everyone in the ecosystem, not just for one. And of course, analytics is important, better demand forecasting. Of course, this is all for the entire supply chain side. They can forecast what they need to do, not now, but 12 months from now, and they're better prepared. And of course, better clinical decision they do, the practical and personalized delivery of healthcare, all these things can happen with adoption of technology, where doctors are at the center of entire healthcare ecosystem. They are at the fulcrum of the healthcare ecosystem. And they build this, and that's why we call healthcare is doctor-led and only tech-enabled. Tech is only an enabler. So what we propose, we actually, apart from being a very early startup, we also foster I would say, the ecosystem of entrepreneurship, and we also help and support some of the tech entrepreneurs and startups, how they can launch themselves using the open APIs that we have been building. So we are building, and we need actually the open source technology infrastructure for the startup ecosystem, the public API, HIMS, EMR that everyone can use. And this is what I say, everyone build something from India for the world. Ayurveda is actually curated in India for the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raman Kumar, for sharing your vision of a democratized IT-enabled solution that empowers doctors. Before Honorable Minister of State for IT and Electronics, Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji joins us, we have a few minutes, and then after his speech, we would continue with some more questions in the time available, which is about 15 minutes in total. So I would like to begin with a question to Honorable Minister of State, Shri Mahendra Bhai. He's in a unique position at the helm of both Ayush and Women and Child Development. So, yeah. So would like to request Honorable Minister to share what he views as the synergies between these two ministries and how Ayush can be used to deliver the very important cause of women and child development. Is there the synergies, and what is his vision, please?
बहुत ही अच्छा सवाल आज आपने राजीव जी ने पूछा है कि देश की 68 to 69% आबादी महिलाएं और बच्चे हैं, और उसके बारे में एक क्वेश्चन है। बेसिकली हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी नरेंद्र भाई मोदी ऑलवेज बच्चों और महिलाओं की चिंता सतत करते हैं। उसमें स्पेशली माल न्यूट्रिशन, अभी 2014-15 का नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे और आया था, उसके बाद ये 5 आया अभी 2021 में। तो स्टंटिंग, वेस्टिंग, अंडर न्यूट्रिशन काफी इंप्रूवमेंट हुआ है, फिर भी जहां हमें जाना है वहां तक हम नहीं पहुंच पाए। तो माल न्यूट्रिशन कैसे, स्पेशली 0 to 6 years के बच्चे, एडोलेसेंट गर्ल्स, प्रेग्नेंट वुमन, लैक्टेटिंग मदर में कैसे कम किया जाए। इसलिए मोदी जी ने, पहले भी चलता था लेकिन अभी जो स्कीम है उसको कोऑर्डिनेशन अच्छी तरह से बन पाए, इसलिए सक्षम आंगनवाड़ी और पोषण T0 ये नेम से एक मिशन हमने ये साल से स्टार्ट किया है। उसमें सबको अच्छा न्यूट्रिशन मिले, और वैसे स्पेशली आप हम सबको मालूम है कि आयुष वे ऑफ जो माल न्यूट्रिशन का कमी कम करने के लिए जो आयुष वे है, उसलिए हमने एक मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हेल्थ और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष के बीच में हमने एक MOU भी किया है कि दोनों को एक मिला के एक एनीमिया और माल न्यूट्रिशन कम किया जाए। स्पेशली हमने अभी न्यूट्री गार्डन जिसको हम पोषण वाटिका बोलते हैं। न्यूट्री गार्डन का कंसेप्ट हमने ऑलरेडी स्कूल के बैकयार्ड में या आंगनबाड़ी के बैकयार्ड में हमने चालू कर दिया है। जैसे बच्चों को या महिलाओं को अपने घर से या अपने स्कूल या आंगनबाड़ी से उन लोग को फ्रूट है, वेजिटेबल है, वो सब मिल पाए। ऐसे हमारा दोनों के बीच काफी, क्योंकि दोनों का एमओएस तो मैं ही हूँ, तो एक अच्छा सा मैसेज जाए पूरा देश में और अपने बच्चों और महिलाओं में, प्रेग्नेंट वुमन, लैक्टेटिंग मदर में ये माल न्यूट्रिशन कम हो, इसलिए हम पूरा प्रयास करें।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद Honorable Minister of State for Ayush. At this juncture, I have great pleasure in welcoming Honorable Minister of State for Electronics and IT, Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who in one sense has straddled all these three worlds: technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship, and now governance. So when we look at the deliberations of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, he sits at this very crucial juncture where we look at how Ministry of IT and Electronics is already partnering with the Ayush Ministry in taking the benefits of Ayush to a larger, the people of India. So with these opening remarks, great pleasure. Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, over to you. We look forward to your remarks, please.
थैंक यू वेरी मच। सबको नमस्कार। मेरे मित्र और मेरे काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर में मेरे कॉलीग मुंजपारा महेंद्र भाई जी, मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट फॉर आयुष एंड मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट फॉर विमेन एंड चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट, डॉक्टर राजीव वासुदेवन, श्री आनंद चौराडिया, डॉक्टर प्रताप चौहान, श्री राम कुमार और सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को मेरा सादर नमस्कार। I first of all congratulate the Ministry of Ayush for successfully organizing this global Ayush Investment and Innovation Summit. I think these summits go a long way in creating awareness and indeed creating global visibility of the power of Indian heritage, Indian culture, and in a sense, intersect them with contemporary technology, contemporary innovation, and the contemporary entrepreneurship that India is rapidly gaining visibility around the world for. I speak as primarily somebody who is being tasked by the Honorable Prime Minister to work on skilling and entrepreneurship on one hand, and technology and electronics on the other hand. It is a great privilege to be in the government at a stage when the world is accelerating and digitizing at a faster pace. There is a tremendous amount of energy and enthusiasm and passion amongst India's youth about being strong participants and indeed stakeholders in building India's decade in that is the next 10 years, as our Honorable Prime Minister has described. 2014 में जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने डिजिटल इंडिया का एक कल्पना किया था और डिजिटल इंडिया का जो उन्होंने एक प्रोग्राम, एक विजन लॉन्च किया था देश के सामने, उनके मन में उनके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स तीन फोल्ड थे। उनका कहना था तब भी और आज भी कि टेक्नोलॉजी के द्वारा लोगों के जीवन में एक बदलाव आना चाहिए, एक पॉजिटिव चेंज आना चाहिए, और उसके द्वारा एक कॉन्सिक्वेंशियल इंपैक्ट ये हो कि डेमोक्रेसी और गवर्नेंस में भी सिग्निफिकेंट इंप्रूवमेंट आए। दूसरा उनका ऑब्जेक्टिव ये था कि टेक्नोलॉजी के द्वारा हमारे देश के इकोनॉमी में ज्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटीज बने, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के, एम्प्लॉयमेंट के, इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए, और एक जो डिजिटल इकोनॉमी का जो कंपोनेंट है उसको ज्यादा से ज्यादा तेजी से हम एक्सपैंड करें। और तीसरा उनका लक्ष्य, उद्देश्य ये था कि दुनिया में बहुत सालों से इंडिया एक टेक्नोलॉजी कंज्यूमर था, लेकिन हम आगे जाकर टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइडर बने, टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोड्यूसर बने, और एक लीडर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, स्ट्रेटेजिक टेक्नोलॉजीज के रूप में उभरे। तो ये मोटा मोटा 3 ऑब्जेक्टिव्स थे, और आप अगर तीनों को देखेंगे, उनका कहना यह था कि टेक्नोलॉजी इज नॉट द एंड, टेक्नोलॉजी इज अ मीन्स टू एन एंड। और ये 3 एंड ये थे कि हम गवर्नेंस, डेमोक्रेसी और सिटीजन्स लाइफ बदलें, इकोनॉमी में बदलाव लाएं, और हमारे स्ट्रेटेजिक कैपेबिलिटीज में बदलाव लाएं। और आज के दिन 2022 हम 2 साल के इस कोविड के महामारी को सक्सेसफुली लड़कर एक सबसे रेजिलिएंट, सबसे फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी बन चुके हैं। आज के दिन हम अगर रिपोर्ट कार्ड करेंगे कि प्रधानमंत्री के जो 2014 के जो उद्देश्य थे, लक्ष्य थे, उसका आज हम रिपोर्ट कार्ड अगर करेंगे, तो मैं मानता हूं कि तीनों के 3 ऑब्जेक्टिव्स में हम काफी आगे बढ़ चुके हैं। लोगों के लाइफ में, डेमोक्रेसी और गवर्नेंस में एक टोटल पैराडाइम चेंज हमने क्रिएट किया है, जो 1985 में एक एक नैरेटिव बना था इंडियन डेमोक्रेसी के बारे में और गवर्नेंस इन इंडिया के बारे में, कि गवर्नेंस इन इंडिया इज लीकी, सब्सिडीज आर ऑलवेज डिलीवर्ड इन अ करप्ट, लीकी मैनर। आज प्रधानमंत्री जी और हमारे सरकार ने जनधन योजना और दूसरे टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म्स के द्वारा ये साबित कर दिया है कि जो हर 100 रुपए निकलता है दिल्ली से बेनिफिशियरीज के अकाउंट में, सीधे 100 रुपीज गो, विदाउट एनी लीकेज, विदाउट एनी डिले, विदाउट एनी करप्शन। ये एक कोर रीराइटिंग ऑफ द नैरेटिव, ट्रेडिशनल नैरेटिव ऑफ इंडियन गवर्नेंस हुआ है बिकॉज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी। और अब दूसरे लक्ष्य में देखेंगे, अगर आप देखेंगे अबाउट डिजिटल इकोनॉमी, अबाउट अपॉर्चुनिटीज, विदाउट अ डाउट हम बन चुके हैं दुनिया के एक प्री एमिनेंट कंट्री ऑन ऑल थिंग्स डिजिटल सर्विसेज एंड प्रोडक्ट्स। एफडीआई, हम सबसे ज्यादा एफडीआई, डिजिटल इकोनॉमी के एफडीआई एब्जॉर्ब करने वाले देश हो गए हैं। दुनिया के सबसे ज्यादा एफडीआई इंडिया में आता है। आप देख रहे हैं यूनिकॉर्न्स, इनोवेशन, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का एक जो माहौल बना है ड्यूरिंग कोविड एंड आफ्टर कोविड, and we are one of the fastest growing innovation and startup ecosystems in the world. And in the third aspect, it is clear post covid में जब दुनिया is looking for a trusted partner, और ट्रस्ट और कैपेबिलिटी दोनों मिलकर एक जो नया अपॉर्चुनिटी इंडिया के सामने आया है, और इसी की एंटिसिपेशन में और इस विजन के साथ प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अगले 10 साल को इंडिया का टेकेड बनाया है कि इंडिया विल लीड द वर्ल्ड इन मोस्ट ऑफ दीज इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज। So I wanted to give you that background just to show how far we have traveled in the last 5 to 7 years in this area of technology. आज मैं जब मिलता हूँ स्टार्टअप्स के साथ या स्टूडेंट्स के साथ, ये जो एक ऊर्जा है, एक एनर्जी है, एक कॉन्फिडेंस है, ये एक नया इंडिया का एक डिफाइनिंग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है कि वी आर क्रिएटिंग अ न्यू जनरेशन ऑफ इंडियंस who believe anything is possible, everything is possible, and nothing is impossible. And that is a big difference from India as we knew it for many decades, जहां पर हमारा नैरेटिव ये होता रहता था कि पोटेंशियल है, पोटेंशियल है, पोटेंशियल है, इंडिया हैज ग्रेट पोटेंशियल, इंडिया हैज ग्रेट पोटेंशियल, to now we are a country where not just do we have potential, but every day we are demonstrating that potential in terms of creating new businesses, new ideas, new innovation, and expanding the economy and altering governance and democracy as the country has known for many decades. On Ayush specifically, I believe it is an absolute, as the gentleman who introduced me said, it is an absolute intersection of traditions of India, the long historical, cultural heritage and capabilities that India has built over hundreds and thousands of years. And when that is intersected and married with technology, we have the ability to deliver innovation, deliver Ayush innovations to not just our local community, but to a larger audience all around the country and indeed around the world. I will not speak for much longer, excepting to say it is clear that in the last 7 years, India has become a preeminent nation in the use of technology. It is also clear that the world today admires India for how it has conducted itself and how it has responded during COVID in particular, and how it has deployed technology and it has deployed citizenship and Bhagidari as a concept to become a shining example for all the countries in the world of how to deal with COVID, how to vaccinate billions of Indians, millions of Indians, and 1.8 billion vaccination shots, all voluntary, even as countries like China struggle with another lockdown, countries like the US struggle with completing its vaccinations. So I believe that technology and Ayush ministries, technology and Ayush as domains have a tremendous opportunity of unleashing, based on our capabilities and our traditional knowledge and heritage, a new wave of innovators and new wave of innovations, and also use technology to take Ayush from the audience that consumes Ayush, is aware of Ayush today, to a larger global audience that is today post-COVID seeking permanent traditional ways of delivering wellness and seeking wellness and getting wellness. So I think India, in many ways, is at the intersection of most of the world's needs, both on digital and the wellness aspects after this pandemic. And I am very, very confident that technology and innovation, along with the deep capabilities and the large community of practitioners of Ayush, will create a new set of innovations and a new set of innovators that will take this to an audience around the world that is desperately seeking wellness in the post-COVID world. I will end here, and I wish the organizers all success. And I thank you for your patient listen. And I apologize for the slightly delayed start, as I was in another. You do fitter, the ITs used to do, let's say, fitter, mechanics, all of those. Now, increasingly, the youth are saying we want to do things like wellness. We want to have programs and courses in those areas. So I believe strongly that skilling can be the catalyst and the force multiplier with ministries and teams like Ayush to create job roles and programs around wellness and Ayush, and wellness generally that expands to other areas, and create a whole new skilled youth for that will be basically looking at opportunities not just in India but also globally. You are aware clearly that the world is today running short of both medical talent as well as the wellness talent. And India has this unique opportunity, given our own historical background, our own deep knowledge of Ayush, and our demographics of youth in our population, to be able to be the wellness skill hub for the world. And that is something that we are very actively interested in building out. And I look forward to working with Ayush on programs such as this.
Fantastic, Honorable Minister. It's great to hear this very clear vision articulated by you. And Ayush stakeholders also look forward to working with you and other members on the other side. Since we are running out of a lot of time, but a very important, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. But if you can wait for a couple of minutes,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
I would like to request Honorables. Stepped out, okay. Okay, so we were awaiting some wrap-up remarks from the Secretary Ayush Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji. He just stepped out, I think, for an urgent call. But if time permits, I would request you to spend a few more minutes with us, Honorable Minister. Now, at this point, I would like to ask Professor Azim Ali Khan, what do you see as the role of research councils? Because they are the foundation of research in these Ayush systems of medicine. So how do you see that all the different research councils can contribute to innovation?
Thank you, sir, for asking this question. It's a wonderful question. And it's very appropriate time to, in fact, apprise the colleagues here and friends here and students here. See, Ministry of Ayush has 5 research councils, which are working in terms of researches, collaborative researches, which we call as collaborative or expression of interest, and we also call them when we do internal exercise, we call them intramural researches. All the councils are busy in a lot of new innovations, new technology innovations, and getting digitalizations for many of the activities which we do in the council. For example, to name a few, because time is not much with us, the moment we are running out of time. For example, in Ayurveda, we have developed one to create and to provide the ease of practice to patients and doctors. We have provided one Tridosha electrography, wherein we can map and we can understand and how to easily diagnose based on the Vat Pitta Kapha, and to make it easy for the doctors and provide the best facilities to the patient. This is one. Panchkarma, we all know, is a wonderful area of practice in Ayurveda. We also have developed with IIT Delhi. We have come up with Panchkarma machine, which has been tested by the CCRAS. That is also a wonderful facility which has been created. Recently in Unani, we have come up for the ease of patients and doctors. For that matter, we have come up certain applications. For example, apps we have provided on the mobile phones, on the Android phones, wherein we have provided that how to evaluate the temperament, or we call in Unani as mizaj of the patient. That is available for the doctors to evaluate immediately and tell the patient, this is your temperament. Accordingly, we can ask them what to eat, what not to eat, and what to practice, and how to go ahead with the life routines. Similarly, we have also come up with the standard treatment guidelines for the doctors. That is also available in the app. We also knew that all these compositions have a lot of constituents, and it's very difficult to remember all the constituents of the medicine, and particularly when you treat the patients on temperament-based philosophy. So we have come up with those standard treatment guidelines, and we also come up with applications for the compound formulations as well as single drugs. That is available on the handset of the patients in the palm, where a person can come to know that what is the temperament of this drug, how does it look like, what are its constituents, and what is the temperament, cumulative temperament, what are indications and contraindications of all that. This also we have come up with. We also have, I just mentioned the Ayush Sanjeevani app to provide the facilities in terms of the advocacies and measures, how to measure the impact during the COVID-19 pandemic we did. We also have in about most of the hospitals we have done that we have the Ayush Health Management Information System, when the patient can register directly from there, and the barcodes are being used for benefit patients, for whether to record their details on those particular applications. Similarly, we also have yoga applications that is also available online, and it's making massive buzz around, and we are using this. Similarly, in homeopathy also, we have the tailor-made softwares available. So they diagnose in a very perfect way using that particular softwares. So a lot of activities are going on. We are digitalizing we are also having a lot of collaborations. We have state-of-the-art facilities with state-of-the-art instrumentations in our laboratories, whether they are GCMS, or whether this is electrography, or whether this is HPTLCs, and we are having the collaborations with the best of the institutions in the country and with the best of the scientific minds in the country. So a lot of activities are happening through research councils, and our national institutions are also busy in telemedicine and teleconsultations and providing facilities to the patients, and sitting the patients at home. They can have a lot of facilities using these applications, whatever the councils and national institutions of Ayush have developed and produced. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Asim Ali Khan. I understand that the Secretary Ayush had to step out for another session, which he was present, because we are slightly behind on time. But quickly, if I can just wrap up today's morning session, we had the benefit of 2 stellar ministers of the Government of India who really sharing with us that whatever we see today is vision being translated into action and progressively towards a reality that we all wish to see. Ayush, Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy, for its respective stakeholders as a mainstream system of medicine in India and progressively to other parts of the globe. So this vision, we had 3 entrepreneurs sharing how in the manufacturing side, sustainability, which is very important, quality, right, and reliability can be brought into the manufacturing side, sustainability from society, economy, and then the environment. So all three dimensions of sustainability being covered. Anandji, thank you for being here. We appreciate your presence. We had Dr. Chauhan, who talked about how he's taken authentic Ayurveda clinical services to every remote corner of India and then to the world. And then we had Raman Kumar talking about 10x impact through technology, analytics, which is democratized, etc. And coming to the role of what the research councils are doing, specifically in Unani, as well as other research councils, we had a very able speaker in Professor Azim Ali Khan. Thank you very much. And finally, I would like to thank Minister of State Munchpara Mahindra Bhaiji for sharing a very clearly articulated thing. First, the statement he made, then also the connection with women and child development, which I think is extremely important in nation building, because the future of India is not what we see today, but the health of generations to come. So we need that to happen so significantly, and Ayush can play a very important role. And with the strong enablement that can come from electronics, IT thereafter, but electronics is going to play a very important role there, IT, in skills development and entrepreneurship. With this particular concluding remarks, I would like to thank our honorable ministers of state, both of you for being here today with us, and the esteemed audience being here. Thank you very much. Other speakers.
Thank you, sir. We express our gratitude to all our dignitaries, and I request Dr. M.A. Kasmi, sir, to present a small token of gratitude to our dignitaries. We are very thankful to Honorable Sri Munjapara Mahindra Bhaiji. Thanks, sir, for motivating us. With this, thanks to all the dignitaries, distinguished guests, delegates, and members of the media, my rapporteur friends, for making this session memorable with their presence. With this, we conclude our session. Thanks. Namaskar to all.